What is going on, everybody? My name is Dakota, and welcome back to Cologne. Today, we're going to be looking at a 2024 release, and that is going to be a Montblanc Legend Blue. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so this fragrance that we have right here is actually a fragrance that I ordered. Forgot that I'd ordered it because it got lost in the mail or something. This fragrance took almost 6 weeks for me to get for whatever reason. I did get it from a discounter site. The company that I ordered it from said they shipped it a few days after I ordered it, and yeah, pretty much it got lost in the mail is basically what happened. Well, it finally showed up. So figured this was the perfect time to go ahead and review this, go ahead and wear this, stuff like that. And unfortunately, it is Legend Blue, which means that it's supposed to be a blue summer style fragrance. Summer's pretty well over, but I don't mind. I'm still gonna go ahead and wear this because I really enjoy the smell. So first thing I'm gonna do is how we always like to do. I'm gonna show off the atomizer. And the atomizer is about par for course for what you expect from Montblanc. It's not pressured, it's got a good center burst. As far as like designer atomizer goes, pretty rock solid. And I must say that whenever this fragrance gets into the air, it smells absolutely wonderful for a blue fragrance. It is one of those that kind of reminds me of a different fragrance, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. But what you're gonna get when this fragrance first gets in the air is a heavy dose of like a floral, a little bit of a green nature, some citrus notes in there. The notes for citrus aren't listed, but you definitely kind of get that vibe when it gets in the air. And it has a very nice wood note in there. But one of the biggest things that I like about this is that it stays incredibly light. Like I said, it's got a little bit of floral, a little bit of a green, a little bit of a woody note. This is going to be more of a linear fragrance just because that's typically how Montblanc tends to do, especially with their Legend line. So what we're going to do next, go ahead and put 2 there on the wrist. This actually has like an incredibly smooth feel to it. And this fragrance to me feels a little bit different than what they've done with a lot of the other Montblancs. But this one doesn't have any of that like bubblegummy kind of sweet. This one is very much like a clean, good, maybe like a touch of soap. But the biggest thing on this one you're gonna get is just the fresh relaxingness of this. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and go over some of the notes. So the notes on this one, the top notes are gonna be mint and lavender, and you get both of those off the opening. The mint in this is very soft, it's very subtle. I actually really like that because I'm not the biggest fan of mint fragrances. The lavender on this is very smooth, it is very good. The mid notes on this is going to be both wood notes. It's going to be sandalwood and cedar. You can tell there's a use of sandalwood in this just because a lot of times whenever you get those fragrances that are very clean, very linen-y, kind of has like that touch of soapy, but it's more standard in, I guess you could say, like the blue style of fragrances. A lot of times that sandalwood, what it does is gives it a little bit of a woody nature that's also very clean. And then the base notes on this is going to be ambroxan and moss. And unfortunately, you can tell ambroxan is in this right off the opening. This fragrance doesn't feel very synthetic, but it's kind of got like a little bit of a synthetic vibe going on. And a lot of times, if it is like a little heavy ambroxan-y, you can kind of get a little bit of that synthetic feel from this. And then of course you've got the moss. And what the moss is going to do is probably give it a little bit of a, as it dries down, it's going to dirty it up a little bit. It's going to make some of that clean freshness start to feel a little bit more green, maybe a tad more earthy. And I don't mind that at all. With the way they blended this fragrance, it was done exceptionally well. Especially for a Mont Blanc. As far as Mont Blanc goes, Legend Red was my favorite Legend from pretty much from the point it released until now. I think this one is actually going to beat it out a little bit because I feel like this fragrance is just a little bit more complete. All right, so now we are going to get into the price, performance, and availability. So price-wise, retail is going to be about $110. I do not recommend getting this from retail. Discounters already has this. That's actually where I got mine from. They didn't have any testers when I ordered this one. I want to say a couple of different sites have the testers now, and I think that somewhere in like that $48 to $49 range. Potentially that is going to come down because a lot of the other Legends, except for Red, the ones that's been out for a little bit, normally you can pick those up for anywhere from the $30 to $40 range. So I don't know that this one will go down much more, but I imagine this will probably be under or around that $40 range by beginning of next year. And if you're someone who doesn't want to wait for discounters and just has to get their hands on it now, most, if not all, major retailers are going to have this. So as far as performance goes on this, I was actually pleasantly surprised. It did way better than I was going to give it credit for, because this isn't eau de parfum concentration, but usually whenever places start to do some of those blue fragrances and stuff, a lot of times those fragrance either only works in really hot weather, or it's one that you maybe get 4-5-ish hours out of, and then it just kind of falls off. This was not that. I was pleasantly surprised. This is one that the first time I wore it was whenever we got back from Minnesota, and it was incredibly hot that day because whenever we got back, it was still like low to mid 90s. So when we got back, I opened it up and I immediately put it on because I've been kind of expecting this one and I've been wanting to wear it. I just forgot I ordered it. Much to my surprise, whenever we were unpacking, doing all this, that, and the other, I did get hot. Like I said, it was hot outside, and whenever I started to sweat a little bit, this thing started pumping. The performance on this thing actually got really, really good. So as far as longevity goes, I've gotten 7-8 hours out of this, which, like I said, completely shocked me on that because I don't know that any of the other legends have that kind of performance, especially on my skin. Sillage, very good. That sillage is in that 2 foot range, and projection is very, very good. Like I said, when I had those friends come over, we were 2 or 3 foot. I wasn't saying a word, and they were like, "Hey, that smells good. What you got on?" So props to Montblanc on this one. Actually did exceptionally well. So as we get in the deepest parts of the dry down on this, the wood note gets a little bit stronger. It kind of develops a little bit of a subtle kind of soft style of wood note in it. But some of that lavender, some of the mint really holds on. I kind of thought the moss would dirty this up a little bit, but that's not what I'm getting out of it. It's staying very clean. It's staying almost linear kind of, but it's staying very clean. It's staying very fresh. It's got a relaxing vibe to it for being like a blue fresh style of scent. Some of that kind of linen-y smell does go away after about the first 5-10 minutes. And I think one of the things I like about it the most is, like I said, this doesn't have like any sweetness to it. So this is very like florally green kind of, but it's done in like a blue fresh nature. And I think that's what I'm liking the most about it, is this one can kind of flirt with both of those worlds of being a very, very good spring and summer fragrance. Even though it is getting a little bit cooler outside, we're finally starting to get some of that colder weather. I'm still going to wear this because I'm disappointed I didn't get to wear it throughout the summer. But this is still going to be one that I'm going to reach for in the fall, hopefully testing some of the performance on this, because I'll be curious to see how well this performs in the cold. Because like I said, some of those fresh, clean style fragrances, they just don't do well in the cold. I'm hoping this was an exception because, like I said, the scent quality on this is actually very good. So if I had to give this fragrance a rating right now, I would actually rate this like a 9.5 out of 10. As far as like scent profile goes, honestly, I think I'd give it a 10 out of 10. I really enjoy this. The only thing I'm going to knock it for, and this is why I said my overall score is going to be a little bit lower. To me, this smells eerily similar to another fragrance, and that's why I'm going to knock it just a little bit. But honestly, the fragrance that I'm kind of picking up the most when I wear this, and even as far as the note breakdown, because I checked, is going to be Sedley from Parfums de Marly, which is this guy right here. To me, these two fragrances are dangerously similar. The only difference is even from discounters, this one's like 170 to 200, give or take, depending on which discounters. And this one, as of right now, can be bought for $49. I don't really want to say I'm disappointed in that, but for me, part of the reason that I've always held Sedley as like my summertime gatekeeper, I guess you could say, is because this is one of the ones that smells absolutely beautiful, smells incredibly natural, and on top of that has knockout performance. This is an all-day performer for me. This one shares almost all the same notes as this one. Out of the 6 notes listed, 5 of them match Sedley. And you can tell that, I don't want to say it was inspired by, but you can tell that they share a lot of similarities. So whenever you get into this one now and you look at the scent profile, smelling, I would say probably 85 to 90% similar to Sedley, and you get the performance that's probably 85 to 90% similar to Sedley. And now you can buy this for $49. And I do know that there is some Lattafa clones and dupes of Sedley. And honestly, I've tried some of those. I feel like this one might actually be closer in nature to Sedley than some of those. And this one smells more quality than some of those. This one, even though the Ambroxan is just a little bit heavy on the base, smells incredibly natural. And that's kind of what I'm liking about it, is it's blue, it's clean, it's fresh. You actually get really good performance. And it smells similar to probably my favorite summertime fragrance ever. So that's probably why I'm leaning at this one so hard and heavy, is because it does smell so similar, and honestly, it is extraordinarily cheaper. So as far as this fragrance goes, just this one, what I'll say is that for the $50 range, this is a knockout fragrance. This is going to be one of those that is going to be mass appealing. Everybody's going to love it. It's going to be incredibly easy to wear, and there's going to be a lot of really, really good things about this fragrance. And like I said, the biggest reason is for that $50 range to get most of, if not all day performance, to get such a clean, good vibing profile that also smells probably 90% natural. That's really hard to beat. And like I said, I'll be curious to see how this performs in the fall, because I do kind of want to test this out on some cold weather, because Sedley here performs very well in the cold. So if this performs very, very well in the cold, this will easily be an all year round fragrance that would be an easy reach for anyone. But I do think that's going to get us wrapped up for today. I'm gonna go ahead and get on this bottle one more time. The light is kind of fighting with it a little bit. I think one of my favorite things about this bottle is it has like this translucentness to it that you can kind of see through it. I think Legend Night might have been the only one that you could kind of sort of see through, but I really like that. I feel like this bottle is about as clean as it gets. The cap is a snap cap. Don't recommend doing that, but you could in a pinch. As always, thank everyone for watching. Thank everyone for subscribing, for sticking around, for staying tuned. We just had a 500 subscriber giveaway. Again, big shout out to Perfume Baby and Chili Cheese. They were the two winners from 500. We're going to be doing another one at 600. So if y'all didn't get on that one, that's fine. Hopefully very soon we'll be doing another one. But enough on that. But as I say in every video, thank everyone for watching. Thank everyone for subscribing, for sticking around, staying tuned, supporting the channel, the feedback and everything. I truly do appreciate that. And as always, we'll see you next time.